Let me tell you about the very first house I bought and the lesson I learned from it that's helped me so much in my career.
Tell me about your first deal. How did that go?
So on my first deal, I had no desire to be a wholesaler. As a matter of fact, before I got into wholesaling, my cousin told me about wholesaling, and I thought it was gonna be a total fad that wasn't gonna last. So it was kind of wrong, right? And he was telling me back in 2007. So in 2010 is when I actually bought my first house. Now, I didn't want to buy this house. I had just transitioned from selling foreclosures for Bank of America, Chase, and Wells Fargo, and I was just trying to get more listings. So as you can see here, I'm licensed with Stunning Homes Realty. It's my brokerage, and part of our promotion was your home sold guaranteed or we'll buy it. And I was marketing to get listings. So I was advertising for find out what your house is worth and, free appraisals and whatever. And none of that worked. But one key word worked really well, and it was sell my house. So what did I do? I went really hard on that keyword. As a matter of fact, I went and copied one of the biggest wholesalers in town, Sean Terry. I copied his website, I copied his keywords, I copied all of his ad copy. And after I did that, I would go on these appointments from people that reached out to us on Google Pay-Per-Click. And I'd go to their house and I'd do a listing presentation. And they would say, well, I want the cash offer. To which I would say, no, you don't understand. If I buy your house, you're going to walk away with less money. They said, no, I want the cash offer. Well, here's the way it works. I have to list your house for 120 days. And after 120 days, we'll buy, and then they interrupt me. What's your cash offer? So I said, okay, well, your house is worth 100,000. You'd walk away with 91 if we list it, but if you want cash right now, we've got to be at 80,000. And they said, we'll do it. And I looked at them. I was confused. It said, but for only 30 days, you'd walk away with 11,000 more. And so what happened? I go out to my car because I didn't bring a contract with me, or I didn't bring a purchase contract with me. I had to go back to my car, take a purchase contract that I happened to have with me, and we filled it out. And I brought it into their house, and we signed it. And I still couldn't believe it. So the very first call I made when we left was to my wife. And I told her, hey, honey, we bought a house. And she's like, what do you mean? I said, well, your home sold guarantee will buy it. She said, yeah. I said, well, they didn't want to wait 120 days, so we bought it. And she says, okay, well, what are we going to do with the money? I said, don't worry, I'll figure it out, which is my go-to answer for everything. So after ending that call, I called my dad. Hey, Dad, do you have $80,000? And he said, yeah, we'll figure it out. So what happened? We bought their house. What did we do with it? We listed it for $100,000, and we sold it.
So why do you think they did that?
They had a home that they were going to buy. They already had this property on this lot much further north that they wanted to just move on, and this house was the one thing stopping them from moving into the next home. So there was this upside that they wanted to miss out on. So it was really important to them to be able to move into this other property, and selling this house to me, even at a small discount, was worth it to them.
So this is like your regular realtor deal. You weren't even doing wholesale yet.
I was not wholesaling yet. Not only wasn't that wholesaling yet, I wasn't even flipping yet. This turned out to be our very first flip, which really flip is a very generous word because it was a wholesale before I knew what wholesaling was. Because all we did was close, sent our cleaners, and then we put a sign in the yard and we put photos up. Literally all we did, right? This is the very definition of wholesaling.
And you made like what, $10,000-$15,000 on this?
Yeah, we made 13-14 grand on this in very short order. It wasn't even very long. The lesson I learned from this was I didn't want to buy their house, right? Like I told them, I kept pushing them away. I said, no, don't go with a cash offer. Go list your house with me and you'll walk away with more money. And this is the lesson that we learned. The more you push away, the more people want you. So I could have gone in there and been a pushy person and said, sign this contract, push for the sale. What I ended up doing, not by design, was I kept pulling away, and they closed me. They asked me to go to the car and go get the contract. So, and they were asking me to sign the paperwork. It wasn't Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, here's the paperwork and, can you just sign here and here? Or it's not press hard and it's not sign here, press hard, there's 4 copies. It was really just, I don't want to buy your house. And they're basically looking at me, you're buying my house. So the lesson that's been so helpful for me in my entire career afterwards in buying houses was the less you want it, the more they want you to buy their house. So really critical here for positioning. Now, you might be watching this video and thought I overpaid. And the fact of the matter is, I did. So as you can hear, right? I thought the house was worth $100,000 and we bought it for $80,000. So we were paying 80% for quite some time. And I realized very quickly after a few people said yes or were pushing me to buy their houses, we lowered our offers to 75%. And they kept saying yes. They kept wanting us to buy their houses. And so what happened? We literally ran out of money. We did not have enough money to buy more houses. And that's how I ended up connecting with Jamil and started wholesaling deals to him because we couldn't buy any more houses.
How long from the first deal that you got did it take you to sell it to make that $10,000 or $13,000?
Man, I want to say, I'll have to go back and look at it, but I want to say it's less than 2 months. It's probably like 4 to 6 weeks. Yeah, and we just listened to MLS. We didn't do anything fancy. We just listened to MLS to get it sold. Second deal was the same exact thing, right? I can't remember the exact figures, but I remember saying, here's how much you'll walk away with. We call them net sheets in the realtor community. Here's how much you'll walk away with. Here's the purchase price, closing costs, realtor fees, title fees, everything else. Here's how much you're going to walk away with. And then here's my cash offer. And at this point, I want to say the difference was between $15,000 and $20,000. And they still wanted the cash offer. It was mind-boggling to me. And I didn't understand it really at this time because for me, right now, I have no desire to sell my house. Zero desire. But if a stranger walked up to me and said, Steve, I will pay you $15,000 so that strangers can walk through your house at any time with 2 hours notice for the next 30 days, I would say, where do I sign? For me, it makes total sense to wait 30 days for $15,000. But the other lesson I learned here is that for me, the $15,000 is more important than the convenience. For them, the convenience and certainty was way more important than the $15,000.
How long did it take you to understand wholesaling, or when you wanted to do wholesaling full time?
It didn't take too long once I decided to pursue that route. Fortunately, I connected with Jamil Damji. You guys may be familiar with him. Wholesaling Hotline, Astro Flip, Keegley. He was my mentor. He took me under his wings and taught me. Now, what was the reason for this? Well, I was sending him all my deals. So it definitely behooved him to make me a better wholesaler. But he genuinely cared about me and wanted me to be successful. As a matter of fact, it wasn't too much later where he was trying to recruit me to go work for him. So, but yeah, it did not take very long because I had a great mentor who answered the phones when I called him.
How did you meet Jamil?
I met Jamil through Zillow. So, there's a lot of hoopla right now about Zillow. And there's a lot of things I don't care for Zillow. And it started much, much longer ago before wholesalers started hating them. I hated them from the realtor side. However, on one of my ugly wholesales, Jamil was a Zillow lead. So I bought this house, again, a situation where they were really wanting a cash offer. They really needed to sell. I don't do inspections, and I'm not a details person. So I didn't realize when I bought this house that it did not have an air conditioning unit. Kind of a big detail in Arizona, but whatever. So I buy this house, I want to say for like $102,000. Ended up selling it for $107,000. I listed it on MLS for $119,000, and that was the first time when someone said, "Hey, where's the AC unit?" And I said, "I don't know." And we lowered to $115,000, and then I think when we lowered to like $111,000, $113,000 is when I got a cash offer from this Jamil guy, and he bought it for $107,000. Now here's where I really got interested in wholesaling, where I realized that this was a real business. I sold it to Jamil for $107,000. He turned around and resold it for $123,000. I had it listed on MLS. I could not sell it at $115,000. He sold it off market for $123,000.
That's crazy.
And it was at that time that I realized, wow, these wholesalers actually do provide a lot of value and can actually help move properties that, for whatever reason, we can't move on MLS.
Why is Zillow the bad guy to realtors and appraisers and wholesalers?
So this is going to date me a little bit. So back when I was really focused on the traditional real estate, right, on the realtor days, I was doing all my own SEO. For a very long time, I was ranked number 2 consistently on Google. If you Google Tempe Homes or Tempe Real Estate, you would find my website. I was doing pretty well with that. And then this company comes out of nowhere and starts ranking organically for every address in every generic city real estate or this generic city homes. They kicked me from number 2 to basically number 6, 7, or 8. So that was the first thing, right? I had to compete against this conglomerate that could outspend me, outmarket me, and their SEO was better. I mean, that's just the truth. So I hated them for that initially. And then they made our jobs even harder because Zillow became famous, even before I became a realtor, for being able to tell you what your house is worth. But their data was really lousy. It's gotten better over time, but obviously it's still not that great because they're probably going to go bankrupt in the next year or two for making bad home buying decisions. But as their data has gotten better, homeowners became more and more reliant on the Zestimate or Zestimates. And it really made it difficult for us to work with homeowners because what happens is you talk to a homeowner and you say, well, your house is worth X. And they say, no. Zillow said my house is worth Y. I'm not selling my house for less than Y. So now what do? Zillow set the improper expectations for a homeowner. And now they're relying on this false figure that's entirely arbitrary. Who knows where they pulled those figures because it's all algorithms. And now this homeowner is going to be in a bad spot because their house isn't going to sell because Zillow gave them false expectations. So as a realtor, I hated them because they were hurting us as far as marketing goes. And then they were ruining homeowners' expectations on the realtor side. What about the wholesalers? Well, wholesalers are running into similar issues, and they're going to meet with a homeowner, and the homeowner says, well, my house is worth X because that's what Zillow says. And now you got to overcome this objection that, again, who knows where Zillow's pulling these figures from, but it's definitely not from any real figures because, again, they're probably going to be out of business because they bought a bunch of houses as estimate value. And that's a story about how we bought our first house. I'd love to hear about you and how you bought your first house. Please comment below. Let us know about the first house that you guys bought.